Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something fascinating, biological resilience. We've got this great source note from an outdoor pond keeper.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. We're looking at duckweed, of all things.
Right. And how it basically performed this incredible vanishing act.
Exactly. It disappeared, was totally replaced by another plant, and then months later, poof, it's back.
So the question is how? How does a plant just reappear like that? It seems almost impossible.
Well, that's what we're diving into. This is all about dormancy survival strategies, specifically how duckweed survived being completely overrun by Common Salvinia.
Okay, let's unpack this biological mystery. So first, let's set the scene from the source. The pond keeper notes that duckweed was doing fine months ago.
Right, it was established in the pond.
But then it seemed to just wilt away,
Yeah.
disappear completely.
Yeah, and the culprit was pretty clear. Common Salvinia moved in. Aggressively.
Ah, Salvinia. That makes sense. That stuff can really take over.
It really can. Common Salvinia, or water fern, it's known for forming these incredibly dense mats on the water surface.
Thick mats, right, like interlocking stems.
Exactly. It spreads fast and just covers everything, blocking out basically all the light underneath.
Okay, so for a tiny plant like duckweed that needs surface light, that's bad news.
It's catastrophic, really. It's not just competition. The Salvinia fundamentally changes the environment below. Dark, probably colder.
No way for the duckweed on the surface to survive that.
Absolutely not. Any floating fronds would have just died off. So if it wasn't growing, it had to be hiding somewhere.
Hiding? Okay, so this wasn't extinction, it was a strategic retreat.
That's the perfect way to put it. This is where the biology gets really clever. The duckweed didn't die out. It activated a survival mechanism.
And that mechanism is?
It involves producing these specialized things called turions.
Turions. Okay, what are those exactly? The source mentioned them being dense and starch-filled, like little panic rooms.
Panic room is a good way to think about it. Yes, they're small, very dense organs, and crucially, they're packed with starch. Think of them like tiny, self-contained survival rations.
So not seeds.
Not quite like seeds. They bud off the parent plant when conditions get bad, like extreme shade from the salvinia or maybe cold weather sets in.
And because they're dense, they sink.
Precisely. They detach and sink right down to the bottom of the pond.
That sinking is key then. It's deliberate.
Absolutely deliberate. It gets them away from the hostile surface, conditions, the shade, maybe ice in winter, general disturbance, and down in the muck at the bottom.
You're dormant.
Exactly. They enter a state of dormancy. Metabolism basically grinds to a halt. They're just sitting there conserving that stored starch, waiting.
Waiting for what? How do they know when it's safe to come back up?
That's the trigger mechanism. They lie dormant until the conditions improve significantly.
Okay, so what counts as improvement? Warmer water?
Warmer temperatures are a common trigger, yeah. Signals spring, end of winter. But in this case, the key trigger was almost certainly more sunlight.
Sunlight, which they weren't getting because of the salvinia mat.
Right. They need that light cue to know photosynthesis is viable again.
And this is where the pond keeper comes back into the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
They didn't just wait.
No. It seems they inadvertently triggered the comeback themselves. The source says they were doing routine maintenance.
A water change and scooping out some plants.
Yes, scooping out the dominant plant, the common salvinia, to move it elsewhere.
So by removing that thick, light-blocking mat,
They let the sunlight penetrate the water again, down to the bottom where the turions were waiting.
they literally opened the curtains on the panic room.
Pretty much. That increase in sunlight was likely the signal. Okay, the coast is clear, the shade is gone, time to wake up.
Wow. So that simple act of cleaning the pond was the catalyst.
It looks that way. That increased light hits the turions. They use that stored starch energy.
To do what? Float back up.
Exactly. They regain buoyancy and float to the surface, and they are ready to grow immediately.
That's the really striking part, the speed. It wasn't a slow recovery.
No, not at all. The turion itself contains everything needed. It surfaces, and often growth starts from just a single frond.
A single frond. And it just takes off from there.
Takes off is right. Because it's using that stored starch, that energy reserve, it doesn't need a slow startup phase like a seed germinating. It just starts dividing, multiplying, rapidly colonizing the surface again.
So it's not just survival, it's like a rapid counterattack strategy, using stored energy to quickly reclaim space.
It really is. It's hyper efficient. While the remaining salvinia might still be there, the duckweed can pop up and spread in any newly available space incredibly fast.
It just shows how a simple environmental change, like removing some shade, can totally flip the script in an ecosystem.
Especially when a species has such a sophisticated backup plan like these turions. Patience and stored energy.
It's an amazing example of resilience.
Yeah.
Duckweed lost the surface battle initially.
But it won the war by retreating, waiting, and coming back strong when conditions changed. Strategic withdrawal.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, the key takeaway for you, listening, is really understanding these turions.
Yeah, these tiny, dense, starch-packed survival pods. They let plants like duckweed essentially pause life, sink away from trouble.
And then use stored energy for a rapid comeback when conditions improve, like getting more sunlight. It's nature's ultimate pause button and rebeat sequence.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If duckweed can do this, hiding in plain sight at the bottom of a pond.
What else might be out there?
Exactly. What other organisms, plants, maybe even tiny animals that we think have vanished from an area are actually just waiting, lying dormant, needing just one small shift
A bit more light, a slight change in temperature or water chemistry.
to trigger their return and completely reshape an ecosystem we thought we understood? How much resilience is hidden just beneath the surface?
That's definitely something to mull over. A great thought to end on. Thanks for sharing your sources and joining us for this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.